Of course, I didn't choose to end up with the Chevy Malibu and live with it for some time, but unfortunately, both my Tesla and Macan are in the shop right now. Recently, I crashed my Tesla into my Macan. Check out this video if you haven't seen it already. So while the cars are gone, it means that I have to drive around in this Malibu. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about what it's been like to live with this insanely boring Chevy Malibu. If you're anything like me and you have this disease of loving cars and you have money leaving your wallet way faster than you can fill it, I have the cure for you. It's this Chevy Malibu. Drive around this car for a while and it's going to kill any ounce of auto enthusiasm you have. This is such a boring driving experience with mind-numbing steering. It's so loose. You can move the steering wheel from side to side and the car still keeps going straight. And there's so much body roll around turns, even going slowly, you can feel the whole weight of this thing move. Think about all the fun cars you may have driven in your life. This car is the exact opposite of fun. There's no driving mode other than eco, and the engine is so severely underpowered. 160 horsepower for this fairly big sedan. You can floor it all you want. All you're gonna hear is this really annoying noise from the engine. The steering wheel is so loose and so numb, there's zero road feel. The way they designed this car is they thought about everything an auto enthusiast would love, and they got rid of all of those things. So what you're left with are four wheels, some seats, and an engine. The seats are actually comfortable, but what keeps this car from being better is the fact that there's so much road noise and tire noise. But then again, this car is meant to be cheap and practical, so you can't really expect a whole lot out of this car. And because it's cheap and you know you don't have much to worry about, there is a mental peace that comes with driving this. You can park this car anywhere, you can drive it anywhere, you can treat it however you like. This is purely a mode of transportation just meant for utility and nothing else. But because it's so boring to drive that you will fall asleep driving this car within minutes. There's zero excitement, zero fun. One thing that happens though is that driving this car around gives you a lot of perspective and it makes you appreciate what you already own. GM is actually killing off the Chevy Malibu. 2024 is the last year. This is the 2023 model. This is a cheap car, so you have to have expectations set accordingly. And if you're a passenger in this car, you'd be perfectly fine being driven around. But if you had to drive it, you'd rather be doing anything else other than driving this. But I guess this car was not really meant to be exciting, and it's also cheap and economical. And unfortunately, that generally means that fun is not part of the equation. But for being a mode of transportation, the Malibu does have some good things about it. So let me tell you what those things are. The backseat space is great, lots of legroom, you can really stretch out, and most importantly, it passes the sleep test. There's no reason to stay awake in this car, so just lay down and go to sleep. Life is so stressful these days. Drive a Malibu to remove all the stress from your life. Low cost, easy mode of transportation, great gas mileage, and most importantly, you can park it anywhere. When you get door dings like this, who cares? Think about how much time you'll save. Going to a crowded concert, just find the closest possible spot and forget about parking a mile away. This car will give you a completely hassle-free existence. This car might not have the best ergonomics, but I like what GM did with the interior. Some of the design on the interior does look nice, so GM did put some thought into it, and I do like the overall simplicity of things. My favorite feature on the car is that they did hide a couple of buttons behind the steering wheel so you can easily change the volume or the radio stations. The AC blows really cold too, which means every time you pull over to take a nap, you're gonna get the best rest ever. If you really wanted to, you could drive this car, but I would recommend this car for sleeping purposes only. This is a 2023 model, so it's only a year old, and I'm surprised at how much things are wearing out. Seat fabric's starting to come out. steering wheel getting destroyed. It's a rental, so not completely surprising, but it's also a cheaply built car, so don't expect quality. So with this car, you get to drive it around for cheap, you get really good gas mileage, and you could probably drive this thing until its wheels fall off. On top of that, I can't imagine that this car would cost you that much in terms of maintenance. So this car will save you a lot of money, it's extremely practical, and you will be the most rested person in the world. So wait a minute, why am I spending all this money on cars then? I better get rid of this car fast before I completely change my mind. The smartest thing both you and I can do is probably drive something like this. Sadly, us auto enthusiasts are not smart. We're in fact the exact opposite. So here's to a lifetime of stress, terrible financial decisions, and ending up completely broke. Finally, the time has come to return this Malibu to its rightful owner, Hertz. I'm glad to get back into the Macan. The repairs are finally done. But I'll tell you what, I got a lot of sleep and I'm fully rested after being with this car for a week. I'm not even kidding when I say that this car put me to sleep driving it so many times. I had to pull over, get some caffeine, anything to avoid from crashing into somebody. I'm so happy that the days of driving in utter boredom are about to end. I sure could use some excitement back into my life. It's not a surprise, by the way, that GM has decided to kill off the Malibu because this car is so blah that even the most practical, sensible, and reasonable people don't want anything to do with it. Even though it costs money to drive something exciting and fun, I think it's worth it because you know what? If you fall asleep driving something super boring, that's a danger to your life. So in order to stay safe, drive something thrilling. Okay, I think I've given the Malibu enough of a hard time. I'm gonna give it a break now. All I can say is that I can't wait to get back some fun into my life again.